Here are 3 signs that you might have ADHD. Number 1, you've been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and/or bipolar disorder, but you never seem to get better, even with treatment. And the reason why this is happening is because you have the wrong diagnosis. ADHD tends to look like depression and anxiety, and in some instances, it can look like a mood disorder like bipolar. But when you get the wrong diagnosis, it prevents you from getting the right treatment. And the majority of those who are diagnosed with ADHD actually present in the office with symptoms of depression and/or anxiety. So most times it's going to take a clinician who's looking for specific signs of ADHD to actually catch a diagnosis. The tragedy here is that ADHD is actually the most treatable psychiatric condition. So when you get the right diagnosis and the right treatment, not only does your ADHD get better, but the symptoms of anxiety and depression that were there, they also tend to fade away. Many women who actually have ADHD receive the wrong diagnosis, and they have to wait until their 30s and 40s and sometimes later for an accurate diagnosis of ADHD. And the reason why this sucks is because by the time you're 30, 40, or 50, you've already made major decisions in your life. And ADHD is a condition that affects your ability to regulate your emotions and the ability to regulate your mood. So essentially, you're making big time decisions before you understand yourself. And that's why pushing for a diagnosis as soon as you can get it is so crucial. Number 2, you struggle with rejection, and this has turned you into a people pleaser. A lot of people who have ADHD struggle with something called rejection sensitive dysphoria, which means that whenever you feel rejection, you get this deep, visceral feeling within you where you feel like you're not enough, you may feel inadequate, and you'll self-sabotage and people please to the point where you don't even know who you are sometimes. And you do this because you want to feel acceptance, you want to feel like you're a part of something. And with ADHD, we're already struggling to regulate our emotions. So a perceived rejection may put you back on that emotional roller coaster where you start to question whether you really like yourself. Number 3, you're chronically late to most things and you always feel like you're running behind or you're running out of time. The reason why this is happening is because in ADHD, we struggle with something called executive dysfunction. And this means that we don't prioritize correctly and we do things out of order. So we're not planning properly, we're not organized. So you might be doing a lot of things, but you might be doing the right thing at the wrong time. And not being able to prioritize is going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to frustration. It may lead to isolation. And over time, this will also drop your self-esteem and your confidence. And these are the people who have done well in school. They probably were in gifted classes from K through 12. They probably went to an Ivy League university, or you've been excelling at a certain thing your whole life. However, the issue is that you have to work twice as hard as a neurotypical person to get things done. So that burnout, it's coming eventually. If it hasn't hit you, it's going to come. And you normally go through the cycle over and over. And the problem here is that you're effective, but you're just not efficient. And that's not a sustainable way to live. If you have ADHD, you're going to need a system in order to get things done. And you will need some level of external support to thrive. I'm not just talking about surviving, I'm talking about thriving. You will need some level of external support. So in order to build that system, you have to first eliminate the shame. So the years of people pleasing and masking and not liking yourself, that prevents you from putting a system in place that will allow you to live your best life. And this all starts with getting the right diagnosis.